The morning light that filtered through the blinds felt more like an interrogation than a welcome. Aaron sat at the edge of the bed, shirtless, staring at the half-cold cup of coffee on his nightstand. Jack was already gone, had been for hours. Of course. Another early meeting. Another missed breakfast. Another day of pretending they were still something more than two men who shared a mortgage and a fading memory of desire. Jack had been his everything once, sharp-witted, ambitious, devastatingly handsome. Aaron still remembered the way Jack's eyes used to find him in a crowded room, like there was no one else worth noticing. Now, Jack's eyes barely looked up from his laptop. Their dinners had turned into silent routines, their sex life into a monthly obligation, and even that had stopped a few months ago. Aaron had stopped asking why. He sighed and ran a hand through his unkempt hair. The silence of the house was stifling. It used to feel warm here. Now it just felt hollow. After a quick shower, Aaron drove aimlessly, the radio humming static beneath his thoughts. He told himself he just needed air. A break. Not from Jack exactly, but from the feeling of being invisible. He didn't want to cheat. That wasn't what this was. He was just existing outside the shell of the man he used to be. Was that so wrong? The road opened ahead, a strip of highway flanked by thick trees and sporadic signs promising gas, food, or salvation. He pulled over, not sure why. Maybe to think. Maybe to breathe. And then, just like that, he appeared. A man was walking along the roadside, sweat glistening on his forearms, a duffel bag slung over one shoulder. Tall, built, dark hair a little wild, like he didn't care what anyone thought. He looked like the kind of guy who lived without apology. Aaron's chest tightened. The man slowed as he neared the car, cocking his head curiously. "You okay?" he asked, leaning slightly toward the open window. Aaron blinked. "Yeah. Just driving." "Mind if I catch a ride?" the man asked with a half-smile. "I promise I'm not a serial killer." Aaron hesitated. A normal version of himself, a faithful husband version, would have said no. But this version, the one worn thin by loneliness, nodded before he could stop himself. "Hop in." The man slid into the passenger's seat with the ease of someone who belonged everywhere. "Name's Jason," he said, offering his hand. "Aaron." Jason's grip was warm, firm, confident. Everything Jack's hadn't been in months. They drove in silence for a moment before Jason spoke. "You live around here?" "Not far," Aaron said. "Just needed to get out of the house." "Rough morning." Aaron laughed, but it sounded tired. "Rough year." Jason raised an eyebrow but didn't press. Instead, he leaned back in his seat, arms crossed, eyes scanning the horizon like he was chasing something. "You in a relationship?" Jason asked, his tone casual but curious. Aaron hesitated. "Married. To a man." Jason glanced at him with interest, not surprise. "How's that working out?" There was no judgment in the question, just curiosity. Aaron exhaled slowly. "It's complicated." Jason didn't respond right away. The silence stretched, comfortable but charged. Then, he said, "Sometimes people stay because it's easier than leaving. Sometimes they stay because they remember what it used to be." Aaron looked at him, really looked. "And what if neither of those are true anymore?" Jason smiled faintly. "Then maybe you're just waiting for someone to wake you up." The words hung in the air like a spark waiting to catch. They drove for another 10 minutes, the air thick with something unspoken. Jason shifted, his thigh brushing against Aaron's. Aaron didn't move. "Let's stop somewhere," Jason said suddenly. "Just a quick bite." Aaron didn't argue. They pulled into a small roadside diner, quiet, nearly empty. They sat in a booth by the window. Jason ordered pancakes. Aaron got coffee he wouldn't drink. They talked. About nothing. About everything. Jason was funny, sharp, unapologetically blunt. He told stories with his hands, laughed with his whole chest. And Aaron found himself leaning in, smiling like he hadn't in months. Maybe years. "So, what's your husband's name?" Jason asked. "Jack." And Jack is the problem? Aaron stared at his cup. Jack is distant. Always working. I think he loves me. Or thinks he does. But I haven't felt wanted in a long time. Jason nodded slowly. You don't seem like the kind of guy who's easy to forget. Aaron met his eyes. There was something there. Interest. Confidence. A hunger that wasn't masked. Something flared in Aaron's chest. Fear. Excitement. Guilt. I'm not trying to start anything, Aaron said, unsure if he believed his own words. Jason leaned in, close enough that Aaron could smell his cologne, earthy, warm, expensive. Maybe you're not. But maybe you should ask yourself why you picked me up at all. Aaron couldn't answer. The truth sat too close to the surface. They paid and left. Back in the car, the silence wasn't awkward. It was electric. As they pulled onto the road again, Jason rested his hand on the center console, fingers just inches from Aaron's. Aaron didn't pull away. The sun had risen higher now, casting sharp angles through the windshield. Aaron's hands gripped the steering wheel a little tighter than before. The road stretched endlessly ahead, but his mind was tangled somewhere between guilt and desire. Jason sat relaxed, fingers drumming lightly on the console, his presence thick in the small cabin of the car. He hadn't said much since they left the diner, but his glances, casual, lingering, unashamed, said everything. You okay? Jason finally asked, eyes flicking to Aaron's face. Aaron cleared his throat. Yeah. Just thinking. About your husband? Aaron nodded slowly. About how I don't remember the last time I looked at someone the way I'm looking at you. Jason turned fully, resting his elbow on the back of his seat. And how exactly are you looking at me? Aaron laughed under his breath, but it wasn't humor. Like I want something I'm not supposed to want. Jason's smile was deliberate, slow. Maybe the only problem is how long you've gone without wanting anything at all. That struck Aaron hard. He hadn't felt desired, hadn't felt seen in what felt like years. Jack had become a ghost in the house, present but intangible. Everything between them had narrowed into habit and quiet resignation. There were no fights, no drama, just absence. And now there was Jason. Where are we even going? Aaron asked, not sure when he'd stopped caring. Wherever you need to, Jason said. You don't have to go back yet, do you? No, Aaron admitted. Jack probably thinks I'm running errands. He won't even notice. Jason nodded. Then let's not waste the day pretending you don't want to be anywhere else but here, with me. Aaron's breath hitched. He wanted to deny it, to pull the car over and turn around. But he didn't. They stopped at a scenic overlook, just a patch of cracked asphalt facing miles of green valley. The kind of place lovers might come to make out in high school. Aaron cut the engine. The silence roared. Jason reached over, resting his hand lightly on Aaron's thigh. The contact was bold, but not forceful. A question, not a command. You can tell me to stop, Jason said, his voice low, steady. Aaron looked at him, really looked. At the confidence in his eyes. The calm hunger in his touch. There was no desperation here. Just clarity. And Aaron wanted it. He shook his head. Jason leaned in slowly, giving Aaron time to move, time to run. But Aaron didn't flinch. Their lips met, tentative at first, then hungry. Aaron gripped Jason's shirt, pulling him closer across the console. His breath came fast, ragged, as if he'd been underwater too long and was finally tasting air. He pulled away, gasping. This is wrong. Jason cupped his face gently. It's honest. Aaron blinked back, something hot in his eyes, tears maybe. Or rage at himself for needing this so badly. Jason didn't speak again. He didn't have to. The kiss had broken something open, and Aaron couldn't stuff it back in. He leaned in again, more sure this time. They kissed until the sun shifted, until time stopped mattering. Hands wandered, but not in a rush. Jason touched Aaron like he was learning him. Like this wasn't about sex, but about reminding someone how to feel wanted again. Aaron eventually pulled away, breathless, his voice hoarse. We can't do this here. Jason nodded. Then let's go somewhere we can. Aaron didn't ask where. He just drove. They found a roadside motel 15 minutes later. The kind that advertised color TV and continental breakfast but wouldn't ask for ID if you paid in cash. Jason handled the room. Aaron sat in the car, staring at the wheel, trying to remember what the hell he was doing. Jason returned, room key in hand. Last chance. Aaron followed. The room was small, dated, the bedspread patterned in loud maroon swirls. But it was private. It was anonymous. And the door clicked shut with finality. Jason didn't rush. He took off his jacket, his shirt. Waited for Aaron to move. Aaron's breath shook. His wedding ring felt heavier than ever. But still, he stepped forward. Their bodies met like magnets. Flesh against flesh, mouths finding rhythm, hands learning secret. There was no awkwardness. No shame. Just release. Aaron had forgotten what it was like to be touched without hesitation. Jack had become careful, polite. The kind of lover who asked before kissing, who waited for a schedule, a signal. Jason was none of that. He took. He gave. He wanted. Clothes fell. Skin burned. And when they finally collapsed onto the bed, tangled in sheets and sweat and silence, Aaron felt more alive than he had in years. They lay there, bare and breathless. Jason traced circles on Aaron's chest. You okay? Aaron turned his face to the ceiling. I don't know. Jason nodded like he understood. You don't have to figure it all out right now. Aaron looked at him. I'm married. I still love Jack, I think. But I needed this. I needed you. Jason met his gaze. Then don't ruin it by pretending it didn't matter. Aaron wanted to say something, wanted to explain, apologize, rewind. But all he could do was nod. The light in the room dimmed as the day moved on. Neither of them reached for their phones. They didn't need to. Not yet. Aaron woke before Jason. The motel room was quiet, filled only with the faint hum of the air conditioner and the steady rhythm of Jason's breathing. Aaron's chest rose and fell slowly, every breath reminding him of where he was, and what he'd done. The sheets were tangled around his waist. Beside him, Jason lay sprawled, one arm draped across the empty space where Aaron had once been curled against him. His lips were slightly parted, his brow soft in sleep. Peaceful. Careless. Aaron wasn't peaceful. He sat up, his bare feet touching the scratchy carpet. The wedding ring on his finger felt like a cuff now. Cold. Tight. His phone buzzed on the nightstand. Jack's name lit up the screen. He didn't answer. Instead, he stared at the glow until it faded. 5 missed calls. 2 unread texts. The first, "Where are you?" The second, "Are you okay?" He clenched the phone and stood, moving to the window. Outside, the world was unchanged. Trucks rumbled past on the highway. A convenience store clerk swept the pavement across the lot. Ordinary life marched on while Aaron felt like he'd detonated something inside himself. "Morning," Jason mumbled from the bed. Aaron turned. Jason stretched, his body lithe, golden in the dull light. He looked like a man who had no regrets. "Morning," Aaron replied quietly. Jason propped himself up on one elbow. "You're doing the thing." "What thing?" "The post-fuck guilt spiral. Classic married man move." Aaron sighed. "You're not wrong." Jason stood, naked and unashamed. He walked over, placing a hand on Aaron's shoulder. "Last night didn't have to mean forever. But don't act like it meant nothing." Aaron shook his head. "It didn't. That's the problem." Jason nodded, stepping back to pull on his jeans. "Then ask yourself what you're running from. And what you're running to." Aaron dressed in silence. Every movement felt heavier than it should have. When he reached for his shirt, Jason handed it to him without a word. "I should go," Aaron muttered. "Yeah," Jason said, voice neutral. "But you don't want to." "Not really." Aaron didn't respond. They walked to the car together. The motel door closed behind them like a secret buried. Inside the car, Aaron gripped the wheel, eyes fixed ahead. "Need a ride back?" he asked. Jason laughed softly. That's sweet. But no. I'll find my own way. Aaron turned to him. Will I see you again? Jason shrugged, the corner of his mouth lifting. Maybe. Maybe not. You don't need me, Aaron. You need something else. But whatever this was, he tapped the hood of the car, you needed it. Don't lie to yourself about that. Aaron's throat tightened. I'm scared. Good, Jason said. It means you're waking up. They didn't hug. Didn't kiss goodbye. It wasn't that kind of parting. Aaron watched Jason walk down the sidewalk, the same duffel bag slung over his shoulder, fading into distance like a dream you're not sure you actually had. The drive home was quiet. He turned the radio off. Thoughts surged, collided. He replayed every kiss, every breathless moan, every moment of vulnerability. It wasn't just sex. It was clarity. And clarity hurt. By the time he pulled into the driveway, the sky had gone gray. Jack's car was parked neatly in its usual spot. Aaron sat in the car for a full minute before stepping out. Inside, the house smelled like coffee and something burnt. Jack was in the kitchen, wearing sweatpants and a scowl. There you are, Jack said. I've been calling you. Aaron nodded, setting his keys on the counter. I know. Jack crossed his arms. You didn't answer. I was worried. Aaron looked at him. He still looks good, he thought. Hair swept back, jawline sharp. Familiar. Safe. But the spark was gone. I needed space, Aaron said. Time to think. Jack raised an eyebrow. So you just left without telling me? Aaron's mouth was dry. Yes. Jack stared at him. Is there something I should know? Aaron hesitated. Then, I met someone. Jack blinked like he hadn't heard right. What? I picked up a hitchhiker. We talked. It turned into something else. Jack didn't move. Didn't breathe. You slept with him? Aaron looked him in the eye. Yes. The silence that followed was loud enough to shake the walls. Jack turned away, gripping the edge of the counter. Why? Aaron stepped forward. Because I haven't felt alive in this house in months. Because you stopped touching me, stopped seeing me. And I didn't want to disappear. Jack's shoulders rose, then fell. And cheating on me fixes that? No, Aaron said, voice breaking. But for a moment I remembered who I was. Jack turned, eyes glassy but dry. Do you love him? Aaron shook his head. I don't even know him. But I know I didn't come home just to lie anymore. Jack studied him. So what now? Aaron didn't answer. Not yet. He didn't know. But the fog had lifted. The truth had cracked open. And from here, he had a choice. He was finally awake. Jack didn't sleep in their bed that night. Aaron noticed the absence in every cold inch of mattress beside him, in the echo of silence where soft breathing used to be. He lay on his back, staring at the ceiling fan as it spun slow and lazy, indifferent to the storm unraveling beneath it. The house felt cavernous, hollow. Morning crept in through the blinds, washing the bedroom in dull light. Aaron hadn't slept. Guilt weighed on him like sandbags on his chest, but underneath that, something else pulsed quietly, clarity. Jack sat at the kitchen table when Aaron walked in. A mug of untouched coffee steamed beside him. His eyes were red but dry, fixed on the tabletop like it held answers. Aaron hesitated in the doorway. Can we talk? Jack didn't look up. Now you want to talk? Aaron sat across from him, folding his hands. I don't expect you to forgive me. You're right, Jack said, finally meeting his gaze. I don't. Not yet. Aaron nodded slowly. I didn't cheat because I stopped loving you. I cheated because I forgot how to feel alive, and I didn't know how to tell you. Jack's jaw clenched. You could have tried. I did, Aaron said, voice cracking. I reached out. You didn't reach back. Jack looked away. So what now? Do we pretend this didn't happen? Do we start over? I don't want to pretend anything anymore, Aaron said. I want the truth. Even if it breaks us. Jack stood abruptly, pacing the kitchen. You think sleeping with some stranger on the highway gave you the moral high ground? No, Aaron said. But it stripped away the lies we've both been living in. Jack spun toward him. You think I wanted this distance? You think I didn't notice how we stopped laughing, stopped touching? I did. I just didn't know what the hell to do about it. Aaron stood too. We've been roommates for a year, Jack. Emotionless, sexless, polite. I didn't cheat to hurt you. I did it because I couldn't breathe anymore. Jack's face twisted. Pain, fury, sorrow, all colliding. Then maybe we both failed. Silence settled like dust between them. Aaron reached for his mug, something steady to hold. I don't want to walk away without trying, he said. But I won't lie. I don't regret the truth coming out. I regret how it happened, not that it happened. Jack's shoulders slumped. What do you want from me? A choice, Aaron said. Yours. Not out of guilt. Not out of history. Just what you want. Jack crossed his arms. And what if I don't know? Then take your time, Aaron replied. We've avoided this for too long already. That day stretched on in heavy silence. Jack left the house for hours. Aaron didn't ask where. He sat on the back porch, staring at the dying grass, replaying everything. Jason's touch, the motel room, the way his heart had ached when Jack asked if he loved him. He didn't. Not Jason. But he wasn't sure if he still loved Jack either, or just loved the comfort of him. That night, Jack came home late. He looked different. Not broken, just older. Like grief had carved something into him that wouldn't fade. I don't know if I can trust you again, Jack said quietly. Aaron nodded. I understand. But I don't want to hate you, Jack continued. I don't want to throw away 10 years just because we forgot how to love each other right. Aaron swallowed. Then don't. Let's remember. Jack's eyes searched his face. I can't promise I won't resent you. Resent me, Aaron said. Yell at me. Sleep in the guest room. But don't disappear on me again. Jack gave a short, humorless laugh. You disappeared first. Aaron stepped closer. Then let's stop vanishing. They didn't embrace. Not yet. But something shifted in the air, tentative, fragile. Like two people crawling toward the wreckage, unsure of what they'd find underneath. Weeks passed. They started talking again. Not about groceries or work or who forgot to feed the dog, but about them. The lost years. The loneliness. The fear of being vulnerable after so long. They fought. They cried. They had long, quiet dinners filled with heavy silences, but at least they were sitting at the same table again. Aaron deleted Jason's number. He hadn't planned to keep it, but holding on to it had felt like insurance, proof that someone still wanted him. Letting it go was part of owning what he'd done. One night, Jack sat beside him on the couch and touched his hand for the first time in weeks. Not out of habit. Not for show. Just touched. I still love you, Jack said. But I need to learn how to want you again. Aaron turned to him. I'll wait. And he meant it. Because love, he realized, wasn't static. It wasn't safe. It was brutal, tender, messy. It had to be rebuilt. Not reimagined. Not forced. Rebuilt. Brick by fractured brick. They didn't promise forever that night. They just sat, fingers entwined, the TV flickering in the background, both knowing they weren't healed, but they were trying. And for now, that was enough.